Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is staying at Manchester United for now. Solskjaer is expected to be in charge for the game against Watford after the international break. Manchester United are prepared to give Solskjaer a little bit more time. It said recently from Sky Sports News that Manchester United have no plans to replace Solskjaer, despite the defeat to Manchester City. After the game against Manchester City, Solskjaer did say that the Manchester City defeat was a big step backwards, and he did say that Man United were outclassed by Man City. Yesterday, Solskjaer flew back home to Norway with his family. Does that stir up some suggestions? And reports came out yesterday saying that Manchester United consider sacking Solskjaer following player that's going against him. The pressure has increased on Solskjaer following back-to-back home defeats to Manchester City and Liverpool. Manchester United have only won one of their last 6 Premier League games. Manchester United may have to stick with Solskjaer until the end of the season, because Man United are running out of time on finding a replacement for Solskjaer. When Manchester United sack Solskjaer, they'll have to pay 7.5 million, because in the summer he signed a new contract with Man United until 2024. There's an option of a further year. Manchester United made a mistake giving Solskjaer that contract, and a lot of United fans will agree with me on that aspect. Solskjaer should have been sacked after the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. If we'd have sacked Solskjaer after the defeat to Liverpool, I can assure that Manchester United would have got Antonio Conte. After the game against Liverpool, it said Solskjaer had been given 3 games to save his job. And he's only won one of them 3 games. Obviously, we beat Tottenham the other week 3-0. We drew 2-2 against Atalanta. It was Ronaldo that saved Solskjaer in that game. If it wasn't for Ronaldo, Manchester United would have lost that game. And Manchester United recently lost to Man City 2-0. If Solskjaer cared about the club, he would resign. But he's not going to resign because Solskjaer refused to resign after the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. Solskjaer has been in charge of Manchester United for almost 3 years. Solskjaer's been given long enough now. Solskjaer hasn't even won a trophy as Manchester United manager. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. That's nowhere near good enough to our standards. This season is Solskjaer's 3rd full season as Man United manager.
me have a look. That's colour. That's similar to that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should cover it easy in one coat, shouldn't it?
Yeah. As I was saying, this is Solskjaer's third full season as Man United manager, and I did say at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for Solskjaer because he's got big expectations to exceed. But like I've said before, the expectations are far too high for Solskjaer to exceed as Man United manager. Solskjaer is in a position that he shouldn't be in. I hate to say this regarding Ollie, but I'm just being realistic. We all wanted Solskjaer to succeed as Manchester United manager, but obviously he's not going to. Don't get me wrong, we all adore Solskjaer, reflecting on what he's done for the club, because at the end of the day, he is a club legend. He endured 11 years as a player for Man United. He flourished under Ferguson's guidance. And the reason Solskjaer's lasted as long as he has done is because he's a legend of the club. Disregarding him being a legend of the club, I think he would have been sacked a long time ago. Before Manchester United, Solskjaer was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. He endured 2 spells with them, and before Molde he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely terrible. He ended up getting sacked from Cardiff because he got them relegated. So reflecting on what I've just said, Ollie has no proven pedigree as a manager. And his decision making is also a big concern, because analysing the vast majority of the games Solskjaer's managed at Man United is being tactically naive. But there again, there's been some games where he's showed tactical flexibility, but he's got to do that persistently. Now, obviously, in the last 3 games, Solskjaer has gone with that 3-5-2 formation. But I think for the game against Watford after this break, Solskjaer will revert back to the 4-2-3-1 formation. Analysing the vast majority of the games Ollie's managed at Man United, he's gone with that 4-2-3-1 formation. I said, didn't I, that Solskjaer will find it difficult to stick with that 3-5-2 formation. Solskjaer has received very good backing from the board, and the board still continue to back Solskjaer, even though he is under serious pressure. Manchester United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window this year, made 4 signings, brought Heaton in on a free from Villa, brought Sancho in from Dortmund, brought Varane in from Real Madrid, and we re-signed Ronaldo after 12 years. Manchester United spent around 141 million in the summer transfer window. Solskjaer has endured 5 transfer windows now as permanent Man United manager. Man United have spent over 400 million under the Solskjaer era. And Manchester United have got a very good squad. So Solskjaer has no more excuses. He ran out of excuses a long time ago. Solskjaer got appointed in December 2018 to replace Mourinho. He's been permanent Manchester United manager since March 2019. He got the job on a permanent basis, reflecting how well he did as the interim manager. Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. We've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. We sacked Moyes, we sacked Van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. But in regards to Ole, he knew when he taken over at Manchester United it was going to be a massive job. Not only that, he knew it was going to be a difficult job as well, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. Solskjaer's managing one of the biggest clubs in the world. There is a lot of managers on Manchester United's agenda, but who should we get in to replace Solskjaer? Now, obviously, there's still a lot of rumours coming out about Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers is linked with a Man United job, and recently it said that Brendan Rodgers verbally agreed to become Manchester United's new manager, but his preference would be to wait until next season. Do you think Rodgers would do well, though, if he came to Man United? Do you think he'd get the best out of the players? Do you think he'd get us back to that level where we should be at? And do you think he'd suit the strappings of the club? Well, put it this way, he's a far superior manager to Solskjaer. There's some United fans that wouldn't want Brendan Rodgers with him being a former Liverpool manager. Rodgers at Leicester, he's won the Community Shield and the FA Cup. And he's been in charge of Leicester for almost 3 years. And he's got a contract with Leicester until 2025. Obviously, there's been talks of Zinedine Zidane coming in. To be honest with you, I'd prefer Zidane over Brendan Rodgers. I do believe that Zidane would get us back to that level where we should be at, and I think he would be capable of winning trophies if he came to Man United. You've got to admire what Zinedine Zidane did when he was at Real Madrid. He won a lot of trophies, so reflecting on that, he's got a good pedigree behind him. Obviously, Zidane is available because he left Real Madrid in the summer. Zidane has not yet managed in the Premier League. If he came to the Premier League, would he replicate what he did at Real Madrid? It would be good to see Zidane come and experience the Premier League. Well, reports from Spain did say earlier on this season that Zidane rejected the Newcastle job as he's waiting for the Man United or France job. But reports did say from Spain earlier on this season that Zinedine Zidane was not interested in becoming Man United manager if Solskjaer gets sacked. It did mention that Zidane was enjoying life away from football management. But Man United have already held talks with Zidane. Erik ten Hag has also been spoken about, but I'm hearing that he's reluctant to leave Ajax. I've got to admire the work that Erik ten Hag has done at Ajax. Ralph Rangnick, he's also been mentioned as well. I've been hearing rumours saying that he could come in as the interim manager until the end of the season. Pochettino's been spoken about. Pochettino is PSG's boss. He's highly rated by Alex Ferguson. The other day, Roberto Mancini got mentioned. Obviously, he's the former Manchester City manager. But reflecting on our poor performances, you can't just put all the blame on Ole. He's accountable for certain things, of course, but the players also have to take responsibility for those poor performances. Manchester United have got some very, very good players. But the reason we're not getting the best out of a lot of the players is because we are not playing as a team. We're a team of individuals, like a lot of pundits have already spoken about. You've got the likes of City, Liverpool and Chelsea that all play as a team, and that's why they're in a much better position than Manchester United at this moment in time. Look who we've got, we've got the best player in the world overall in Cristiano Ronaldo. We've got Mason Greenwood, that's a talented player. We've got Marcus Rashford, that's also good. We've got Bruno Fernandes, that's an exceptional player. You've got Edison Cavani, that's also good. You've got Van der Beek, that's good. But I haven't had much of a perception on him at Man United because Van der Beek doesn't get given enough game time. I think he's leaving in January because of that. You know, you've got Paul Pogba. That's a good player. He enjoyed a very good start to the Premier League season. You know, he's got 7 assists so far this season. By the way, I think Pogba's going to be out until January because Pogba suffered a thigh injury in France training. Well, Pogba couldn't have played against Watford after the break anyway because he's suspended, but he's only got 1 game now to serve out of that 3-match ban he got. Pogba got sent off for a 2-footed challenge on Naby Keita in the 5-0 defeat to Liverpool. I'm hearing that it's likely that Pogba's going to leave Man United on a free next summer. And you've got Sancho, that's a good player, but you know, he hasn't settled in yet at Manchester United. His performances have been poor, but the blame has to come from Solskjaer because when Solskjaer decides to play Sancho, he persistently plays him out of position. There's quite a few games though that Sancho doesn't even play in. And you've obviously got Luke Shaw, that's a good left back. But he hasn't proven how good he can be so far this season. This season so far, Luke Shaw's been very, very poor, but he was absolutely superb last season. He was far superior last season to how he has been so far this season. And you've got Alex Telles, he's another good left back, but haven't really had much of a perception on him at Man United because Telles doesn't really get in the team. You know, Telles will only play when Luke Shaw's not available. And you've got Wan-Bissaka, that's a good right back as well. Defensively superb, but the attacking side of his game isn't good. You know, he's got to get forward more. Bissaka's positioning's got to improve, and I'd say his crossing's got to improve a bit more as well. And, you know, you've got Eric Bailly, that's a good centre-half. He's certainly a much better centre-half than Victor Lindelof, but Bailly doesn't get regular game time, does he? Obviously, because Solskjaer prefers Lindelof, and plus Man United signed Raphael Varane in the summer transfer window. And you've got Varane, that's a good centre-half as well. I think he's done well in quite a few games he's played in for Man United, but on the other side of things there's been quite a few games where he's looked off the pace. Varane's out with a hamstring injury now. He's out for like a month. Varane only just come back from a groin injury not so long ago, and he was out with a few weeks with that. Varane initially made his return in the 3-0 win against Tottenham. Harry Maguire, you know, he's good when he wants to be, but I think he's been dreadful so far this season. Maguire seems to play well when he's alongside Varane, but when he's alongside Lindelof and Bailly, he seems to be very, very poor. And, you know, you've got De Gea, that's a very, very good goalkeeper. I've got to give De Gea credit because I think he's done really, really well so far this season. Don't forget De Gea reclaimed the number 1 spot back. De Gea saved us from an humiliation against Man City because De Gea must have made like 4 fantastic saves in that first half against Man City to deny Cancelo. Twice he denied Jesus, and he also denied Kevin De Bruyne. So there you go, and you've got Dean Henderson, that's a good goalkeeper, but I think Dean Henderson will go out on loan next year because Dean Henderson doesn't get his opportunities, obviously, with De Gea reclaiming that number 1 spot back. Henderson's only been in goal for 1 game so far this season, that was the game against West Ham in the Cup. Don't forget, at one point, no, Henderson was out with COVID for a while. You know, there is inconsistent players at Man United. You know, I don't think Fred is good enough to represent the club. I want us to sell Fred next year. I haven't heard any rumours about Fred leaving yet, but Fred has been subjected to transfer speculation before. Man United overpaid for Fred, got him for 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. I've got to make an admission though regarding Fred. I thought he was an exceptional player during his time in Ukraine. McTominay, I don't think he's good enough to represent the club, but I probably would give McTominay a bit more time. You know, McTominay's still young, he's got a lot of development in him. Don't get me wrong, McTominay's had his good games at Man United. He's been part of the club for a long time. You know, just after the first lockdown last year, he signed a new 5-year contract with Man United. Fred and McTominay play a lot together in the centre midfield, and reflecting on that, a lot of United fans have had a go at Solskjaer for persistently selecting Fred and McTominay in the centre midfield. Matic, I don't think he's good enough either, even though he has had his good games at Man United. Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders anyway, but despite that, Matic still seems to get his chances. Surprisingly, he's ahead of Van der Beek in that midfield. You know, Matic has been at Manchester United for like 4.5 years. We got him from Chelsea back in 2017 for 40 million. Lindelof, he's another one that's not good enough to represent the club. I think we should offload him next year. Lindelof's been at Manchester United for 4.5 years. We got Lindelof back in 2017 from Benfica for 31 million. Lingard, he's another one. You know, I don't think he's good enough to represent the club. You know, Martial, he's not good enough to represent the club either. And I think, you know, Martial and Lingard are both going next year. So there you go. You know, there's quite a few players though that don't even get in the team. You know, Jones doesn't get in the team. Tellez doesn't really get in the team. Bailly doesn't really get in the team. Dalot doesn't really get in the team. Van der Beek doesn't really get in the team. Juan Mata doesn't really get in the team. You know, Martial doesn't really get in the team. Lingard doesn't really get in the team. Amad Diallo doesn't get in the team either. He's made a couple of first team appearances, and at the time I did say, you know, Amad Diallo does look a good asset for the first team squad. So anyway guys, that's everything to update with today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless you all again very, very soon.